Hi, I'm Dr. Ty Vincent. This video is to let you know about the new LDI for allergy system that we finally got put together this summer, 2018. It's now late September 28th, 2018 at the time of this recording, and I've been able to use my own mixtures now for several months. So I used LDA for almost a decade, I would say. I started using it in 2018, so it's got to be around 10 years of use with the LDA antigens, the way they're produced from the pharmacy, and they work amazingly well. I adapted the use of those antigens to make my own customized dilutions for some of them and modified things a little bit. They got very good results, and yet over time it became apparent that there are some limitations of that system as well and those products. Some of the big limitations are, one, that they give you a concentrate vial from the pharmacy that is supposed to be the treatment dose, and you cannot make it any stronger than that for people who require a stronger dilution. And that limits the efficacy, because there are some people who frankly just need a stronger dose. And so if you give them the MX, which is the stronger food dose, their food allergies don't get better. If you give them the IC, which is the environmental mix, their environmental allergies don't budge. And so there were some people that were just left out on the edges of the bell curve of immunological threshold distribution. So that's one problem. Another problem was that they were in mixtures that had fixed ratio of all the antigens relative to one another. So if you had somebody that, let's say, with foods was extremely sensitive to peanuts and not that sensitive to carrots or broccoli or chicken, you know, some of the more mundane foods, you would have to give them the mixture at a dilution that would work for their peanut allergy that was the most severe and therefore needed the weakest dilution. And you might get rid of their life-threatening peanut allergy, but you wouldn't touch their allergy to all those other foods that were more common in their diet, because you couldn't give them the dose strong enough to cover that level of immune threshold. So what I did with the food mixture, for one thing, I made the mixtures out of actual foods, which is important because the food antigens that were all made to use the LDA mixtures from the pharmacy were the standardized stock antigens you purchase from supply companies. And they're all mixed in 50% glycerin. That's important because glycerin itself is usually derived from corn. And I ran into a lot of the significantly corn allergic people who reacted just very badly and unpredictably to the LDA mixtures, probably because every antigen that was in there included a trace of corn. And I could never get it to work for them. So for a few years I was using corn alone, just corn antigen alone for the corn people and getting the corn reactions under good control. But then I couldn't treat any of their other allergies if they had other food allergies. So what I did with my food mixtures is, one, I made them out of food, literally gathered food samples of similar amounts, put them in a Vitamix blender, blended it up, extracted the water, sterilized it through a filter, and made dilutions from whole food samples. So there's no corn contamination in any of them. The only one that has corn in it is the corn one. The other thing I did was I made it as a collection of submixtures, so that if somebody has a very bad allergy to shellfish or some kind of meat or dairy that's different from how they react to other things, you can give them those things at different dilutions. And you can tailor this to fit everybody with a complex situation. Unless, of course, they need diverse doses of some things that are still in the same mixture, because I couldn't make 300 separate mixtures. So if you look on Facebook or otherwise online where Jeanette has posted these mixtures, they're available, they've been disseminated. If you want a copy of this list and you haven't seen it on the internet, you can email Jeanette, customer service at globalimmunotherapy.com, and she'll send you a list. I have put down every single food that is in all of my submixtures, and then the collective mixture has all those things. And I also have some food additives that I've included in there as individual things that are not in the food mixture, but things like MSG, artificial colors, that kind of thing. Have gluten as an individual antigen if needed. So it's become a much more versatile tool. And with the starting dilutions we have available, you can give these at 1 million or even 1 billion times stronger than the dilutions that were available from the pharmacy. So I've been seeing significantly better results using this technique. With the environmental mixture, there are a few things I couldn't find that were in the LDA mix, some obscure trees and grasses, but in general there are more items that I was able to collect in the environmental mix mostly in the area of animals, which includes insects and bugs. For example, there are 18 species of mites, and I have seen a lot of people with absolutely horrible eczema and skin itching conditions due to skin mites or environmental mite species that weren't covered by the LDA mixture. And so because there were only the two common house dust mite species in there, and I have 18 mite species in here to cover that. There are more molds, there are a lot more animals. And then there are over 100 tree pollens and lots of grasses and weeds. And then what I also did with this mixture is I made it as a series of subsets: trees, weeds, grasses, bugs, mites, molds, and there's one other. You just have to look at the list, I guess, because I can't remember what it is right now. And then the chemical mixture is one mixture. I did not subdivide that because I really couldn't figure out how to do that in any logical way. So it's just a chemical mixture. That is so much more inclusive than the one from the pharmacy. The one from the pharmacy, you can get the list from Edge Pharmacy, what chemicals they put in their chemical mix, because they were only things that you could purchase as a standardized sample, when you can just go to a department store and collect 1,000 chemicals that were not in the LDA mixture very readily in an afternoon. So there were about a dozen chemicals in the LDA chemical mixture, and mine has thousands of individual chemicals. I just went through my house and I went to several stores, a friend's garage who is an auto mechanic, and another friend who has a construction warehouse, and I literally took a jar, I should get it and show you, it's disgusting, and just squirted and placed samples, small amounts of hundreds and hundreds of different products, each one of which has many individual chemicals in it, into this jar. And then I put pieces of synthetic fabrics, cotton balls, a penny and a nickel and cheap earrings, you know, the things that people can have allergic reactions to, all in this jar, and then I made my dilutions from that. And it so far works phenomenally better for some of the people that I had seen not get results with the CF from the pharmacy. And we can give it at a much stronger dilution than the pharmacy mixture was available if needed. So this is basically what I have developed now this year, this summer, and it's available to other practitioners if they want, at a cost to buy in, like they did with the other LDI mixtures. So it's not free, because it's just not realistic, but it's very, very inexpensive. About 1/10 of what it would cost to use the pharmacy mixtures on an ongoing basis. So it's win-win, I think, for everybody involved, and it's a much more effective system. And again, if you have interest in knowing exactly what individual antigens are within the environmental and the food mixtures, that information is available online and from us if you want to inquire.